Wow, and good podcast to you, my friends, on this Dreamers Live podcast. Hello to my co-conspirator and wife, Jeanette.
That is me. It's good to see you.
It's good to be seen. Thank you. We're thrilled to be here. It feels like we keep going through these little spurts where we're not recording shows. Part of that's because the last time we recorded episodes, we did two at one time.
Oh, okay.
So we kind of got over on the man on that one.
Oh, we did. That was good.
And that was that included the interview with our daughter Evangeline on what she did over a summer break, and I do that same concept in the column that I get to do, and I love that column. Everybody loves that column. It's really their favorite, which also kind of hurts my feelings because it's the one column I don't really write.
No, you just interviewed her. But she's always been like that. She has her own following.
She
for
does.
Sure. It's bigger than either of ours.
She's kind of the Swiftie of our family. I mean, if she endorses something, people take note. So it's pretty funny.
That's true. We should use her more often.
Yeah. How are things for you?
Things are, good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Yeah. School's back in session, so woo!
That's right.
Love that.
You've got a lot of gigs coming up and stuff, and we'll probably let more people know about that kind of stuff as we go forward. So
only if you're not too busy.
Only if you're not too busy. But anyway, this is the Dreamers Live podcast. We would love it if you would like it, share it, get it tattooed on your arm, whatever it is that you want to do. To show your dedication to the show. We greatly appreciate it. We also love hearing from you. So if at any point in time throughout the show you have an idea or a question or some outrageous claim, please feel free to connect with us. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
All that. So I wanted to talk today. Both of us received what I think is probably the best compliment we've ever received.
We did?
And we received it in the same week.
Oh, okay.
And but we received it at different times, individual times. So, we've talked a lot about what it is to grow up and what a difficult time period that is, and you have these questions as you go through, and then somewhere, hopefully, in your childhood and late teen years, you get a handful of people that you can kind of talk to that are they're not really your parents. So people outside of your nuclear family.
A confidant.
Yes.
As they say.
And we call those people safe places, a safe place.
Right.
Like I know for you and for me, really, your journalism teacher and mine, Miss Darla Tresner, she was a safe place for you.
Yeah, in high school, sure.
Yeah, so you could pretty much talk to her about anything.
Yeah, yeah.
And you knew that whatever you said was going to stay there in that room. And
you could hide in her room at lunch.
Yeah.
If you just didn't want to do it that day.
Yeah, right.
I have days where I am so thankful I'm not in junior high or high school. Right. So you said, how are you doing? I should have said, well, I'm not in junior high or high school now. So, man, I'm thankful.
And then I had some people like that in my life. There was, I grew up in a Catholic school, and, they kind of rotate priests in and out through those schools and through those parishes. And so one of the priests that we had was Father Jack O'Donnell,
great name.
who was a great guy, a motorcycle driver, and just a funny character. He was not there for that long, but he really made an impression on me.
What was so memorable about Jack O'Donnell?
I think it was just that he was. He seemed very compassionate and was a great listener. Yeah. And I remember that probably more than even the things that he said, though I know what he said was very encouraging. But as your dad likes to quote Maya Angelou, it's not so much what he said, it's how he made me feel.
Yes.
So with him, I felt appreciated. I felt like I had value. I felt like even though I was stumbling through teenagehood, that somehow I was going to be okay. And he never talked down to me, never, it was just always an encouraging thing. I always left feeling better and more hopeful, whenever I would talk to him. And in fact, even when he left and went on to a different parish, I stayed connected to him as a I guess a pen pal or something. I don't know.
It was pre-internet.
There's no email.
We had to write things, kids.
Yeah, and so I would write him letters, and he would occasionally write me back, which is, you know, for a priest, that's amazing because they are extremely busy. So, but he was a safe place for me, and I just remember the value of that. So someone who recognizes your value, somebody who has a certain level of respect for you, someone who, you know, may or may not mentor you a little bit. It's sometimes it's not so much what somebody says, but the way they bring you in, and you know that you could ask a question and be okay, that you could air a grievance and be okay, you know, and that they're not going to freak out on you, you know, in the process. And so I was really touched this last week because you had a party. A girls' party. I was not invited, and it was fun.
You didn't want that anyway.
And you know, I just, you know, there was laughter and there was wine and there were new friends meeting old friends, and I only know that because I talked to you about it later at the very end, and it didn't really have a huge time component on it, so time was kind of airy, and you guys just hung out, and it was really nice as you described it, and. But what I remember from you in that conversation afterwards, when I came home, I was like, so how was the party and what was that like? And this, that, and the other. You're saying that, so this one friend, even as things were kind of packing up and people were leaving and doing their goodbyes, this one friend kind of lagged behind.
Yeah.
And she was kind of going through some life. And as we do, but sometimes when you go through that life, you don't know if it's you or if this is what everybody goes through.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What's wrong with me?
Am I broken, or does everybody feel this way at some level?
Yeah.
And so because you are who you are, she saw you as a safe place. Yeah. And she wanted to have that conversation with you and wanted to confide. Yeah. So it's, you know, you're making yourself vulnerable when you do that. And so for her, that was a measured thing. She needed someone to talk to. She needed to let her guard down. She needed to be vulnerable. Who could she trust to do that with? And she trusted you. Yeah. And you were a safe place for her.
Yes. And that, I think when people view you that way, or you have those experiences, there's something about it in those moments where someone is sort of bearing their soul or being honest about what they're going through that feels sort of sacred.
Yes.
It's you realize that this is hard for them to say what they're struggling with, and you feel honored that they would have chosen you, that they feel safe around you.
Right.
And so you really want to listen, and you want to express unconditional love, and just be there. And it is kind of a special thing.
Yeah. Well, you're being entrusted, you know, as you say, you're being entrusted with something. And the moment that someone has made themselves vulnerable, you know, like you say, once you know that someone is trusting you that way, you want to step up to the plate. Yeah. It's not that you have to have all the answers, but you want to be trustworthy with what they're giving you.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. And it's not the time to be checking your phone, updating your Insta status.
How much longer is this going to take?
I'm sorry that you're going through a life crisis, and I get that. My Cobra Kai is coming on at 7:30, so I need to get out of here.
Yeah. Well, and so we're also in this place in life right now where once you reach a certain age, people ask you to do things, and we don't love it. But they ask you to be a part of, you know, they'll ask you to be a part of a board.
We don't love it.
They ask you to be a part of a board, or they ask you to be part of a group.
Apparently, to help in the community, you have to sit through a lot of boring meetings.
Oh, man. Yeah, if you're part of a support group, a chaperone group, a board group, you know, there are going to be meetings about the things that you're meeting about.
I was at a meeting the other day at the school, and it's all great. It's just sort of like the parent support group we all help. And my role within that group is to do fun things for the teachers. I'm like the party planner, but there's also a treasurer and and bylaws. And so it was kind of funny. It was the first meeting of the, by the way, we digress here, but
please.
It was the first meeting of the season. So there were like a lot of mostly moms there, a couple dads. And the treasurer, who I love, had to make this long thing about these new bylaws and how it was going to become more difficult for volunteers, and we had to triple sign all of our receipts when we went to Walmart to get treats and all of this stuff, and it went on and on. And so everyone just had the, like my dad would say, the look of the tuna. After his talk, he had to do it. But anyway, I said to everyone, hey, so if those bylaws and stuff really bummed you out, I was like, why don't you come and be on my Let's Do Fun Stuff group? And everyone was like, yay.
Oh my gosh.
But it is part of helping.
We've both have been asked to be part of different boards and trust and all that kind of stuff, and I'm always,
trusts are even more serious than boards.
I don't even know. I think some people just overestimate our skill set. And because if they knew me, there was no way they would ask me to be part of that. I don't have that level of responsibility. So I'm like, what is it about this picture that says this guy should be on our board?
That is,
and occasionally,
it's just the financial reports we don't like.
Occasionally, I even get asked to. There'll be committees or subcommittees, and so then I have to be the leader of a subcommittee, which means and then you're doing parliamentary procedure, and then you're taking making motions or making babies out. There's a whole thing in there about you make babies, you don't make motions, you move motions. I don't know.
What? Like you didn't say that out loud, did you?
And and so anyway, you go through this whole thing, and then there's votes, but I'm the same way. It just seems like there's just this overabundance of financial information, and so when they get into that, and it'll be like, they bring their own printouts of the stuff, and each of them are like 5 to 10 pages front and back, and then this is all the details of the finances, and then they want to go through it line by line, and then they have the audacity when it's all over to say, does anybody have any questions? Like, I don't even know why I'm here. How would I have a question? Is it red or is it black? I don't know.
Sometimes you got to make up a question so they know that you're not asleep. Interject something. Line item 17. Seemed a little exorbitant.
Yeah. Is that what you expected that line to be?
It's got to be something where
that's always a safe place. Is this in line with what you expected?
Yeah, that's right.
Or is this what we should expect next year?
That's right. These projections, are you comfortable with this? Those are like non-question questions.
There you go. Just things that don't reveal how stupid you really are in that process.
Yes. And he who is silent is thought wise.
Yes. And I've been proving that my whole life. So, as part of that, I had to go to, as part of those board responsibilities, I ended up having to go to the city council meeting.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, my gosh.
Woo!
That's the only thing more boring than the things I'm doing is city council meetings. And
God bless those nice volunteers.
But this happened to be a gangbuster because for those who don't know the timing of all this stuff, we were getting ready to have a Pride event in Bartlesville. We've gone to probably the last 4 in a row, and they're always amazing. They're a huge love fest, and we love going. And but surprisingly or not surprisingly, there's also generally some group that's protesting and outraged. And acting like this is the first time this has ever happened. And so the city council had said they were going to consider a resolution to just simply have more police presence to protect protesters as well as the anti-protesters and make sure that everybody was safe. That's all it is. And so I went to the meeting, and the meeting starts off with this tremendously long segment called "Citizens to be Heard." And this is,
we don't want to hear that.
It's absolutely the right thing. It's absolutely the right thing to do to give everybody a chance to.
I think they should have to audition if they're going to be.
It was just this, monotonous agitation, just over and over and over again, the same things. And so, if anybody's ever listened to a Dreamers Live podcast, or if you've ever come to a Dreamers Live event, you know that we are apolitical. We just don't get into that. This is a safe place, speaking of which, where you can come and we don't do that. So this conversation or this matter that came up at City Council is not a political one. To me, this is simply civil rights. So, that's not political. That's just humanity. And so there were 2 things that kind of struck me in all that. One, I'm aware of who's in the room, and it's kind of, obviously it's like a wedding party. It's split between the bride and the groom. It's split between
the right and the left.
Well, not just the right and the left, but people who are for the event and against the event and all that kind of stuff. And so but because of who we are, we know all those people. We know both sides. And So this conversation engages and the finger wagging begins, and the high and mighty get high and mightier. And part of that whole thing is, of course, that most of the people who show up for Citizens to Be Heard have something they want to say, and it's usually mean and ugly. Very few people get up and really nice. I just wanted to get over here and tell you guys what a great job the city council is doing.
Good job. We have a great community. Citizens to Be Heard. I just want to say something positive. That's actually a good idea, though. We should go sometime and just be like, Citizens to Be Heard. What is your concern? I just want to say great job.
Hey, just happy to be here.
What a great city we live in.
And so it's Harold Beal. I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore.
Yeah.
And so the thing that struck me about that on a couple different levels, one, just how tired it felt to have this conversation about civil rights once again.
Yes, because this is the fourth year.
One more time where somebody has to justify their existence, has to justify their rights, has to justify who they are, or just living in here. And even though we're all working, we're all paying the same taxes, the taxes that the gay and lesbian community pay go to build the same streets that the opposition drive on. And so you hold this whole thing, and within that conversation and within that anger and within all that stuff, are people in the room who are being talked about and in many ways in angry and disparaging ways as if they're not there. Yeah. So you have to sit there in a room full of people and let someone in very angry and mean terms describe how you're not part of this community and you're not a full human not or whatever. How you are despicable, how you are a disgrace and all this stuff. And you have to just sit there once again and listen to someone describe you that way. Yeah. And then the other part of that, which was an irony upon ironies, is because we know the city staff so well, I know that there are 3 or 4 people working for the city, the people who make that meeting happen, the people who do the publicity for it, who help set the dockets, who do all that stuff, I know they're gay. So the very people who have arranged for this meeting to happen, in which people can rail against them, and the very people that are making the city work, there's several gay people a part of that. And so those ironies were amazing. So we have a friend that was there, and she had very wisely tried to wait out the Citizens to Be Heard. She showed up later, and then she also very wisely left. And so when that was all over, I texted her as well as a couple other people and just said, I'm so sorry you had to sit through that again. I'm so sorry that was there, and I hope that you're okay and all that kind of stuff. And she responded in the same kind of way, which was, I sat near you because you were a safe place, because you made me feel safe.
That's so cool.
And I don't know that she meant it at the depth of what I took it in, but I took it in as thinking, if someone's going to describe you, if someone's going to know you a certain way and have an attention, the fact that they describe you as a safe place for them.
Pretty high compliment.
That's amazing. If your kid thinks you're a safe place, if your siblings think you're a safe place, I come from a really large family, and they're split all over the place on politics and theology and everything else.
Sure.
But every one of them knows that we can have a conversation. And I think they know with me especially that we can have a conversation and it will be safe. And so, my family and I talk about stuff all the time. We don't agree on most of those things. Right. But what happens in there is the respect for somebody else's humanity. Right. And the protection of their humanity. Yes. And they know that they can be safe in that space. And what is amazing about that is, despite all the other failings of intellect that I have or you have or whatever, is that anyone can be that. Anyone can be that safe place.
Yeah. The question is, are you willing to be a safe space for everyone?
Yes.
Because I know in both of our different families or different friend groups or organizations where that we have friends on all sides of all the aisles. Yeah. And I think do you feel like I feel like it's possible to be a safe place for everyone.
Yeah, you can.
Because you can confide, and you don't have to agree with someone to be their safe space.
That's exactly right. Yes.
You have to give them the respect and acknowledgement and value as a human. I see you as a person and I love you, and even if you feel differently and I don't have any idea how you could believe this or whatever, you can still say that to me and I will listen and I will love you. And people are more important than their theologies.
Yes.
People are more important than their political viewpoint.
Yeah.
And like you always say, people are more important than the mistakes they've made. The mistakes we've made.
Or the decisions they make.
The decisions they make.
They're more important. They're more important than whether or not you agree with their lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that's all of it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think of parents should be safe spaces for their children, and sadly, that's not always the case. Not everybody has that, but I feel like both you and I, and sometimes in different ways, for our daughter, are a safe space. And I have to encourage her. I think, especially with kids as they start to grow up, because they want parental approval.
Yes,
I will say to her often, "I want you to know that you can tell me anything."
Right.
And you can ask me anything.
Yes.
And I don't want you to be embarrassed or afraid. And I would rather you feel like you can do that than hide anything from me.
Right.
But the thing is, that requires, as kids start to get older and they go through tough times, when they come to say something, not going, "Oh my God, Trevor!" Our family would be so horrified.
Yeah.
Because the first time you do that, you wreck their safe space with you. So, and I've had, our daughter's still young enough, and she's a pretty good kid. We joke around them. She's kind of fallen in with the band and orchestra kids, so they're not tearing it up too badly. But she has asked, she's asked, and we've talked about some things where I have had to, as she's saying those things, and I'm listening. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay,
yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
So tell me how that made you feel, instead of I have to let's do this.
Part of that safe place is not always stepping in to correct something immediately.
I think
it's hearing it through, right? Especially with a kid.
Yes, so important.
Yeah.
Because they talk about the differences between men and women in communications, and that's not the same for everyone across the board.
Because men are better at it, is what they say.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. You guys are better at communicating. That's what I said.
Yeah, that's what I'd read too.
Yeah.
So.
But often with women, because not always, but often, I may say, "Well, I went to this meeting and such and felt this way and da 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 da, and I just can't believe this and that, and I'm just really hurt by that." And what we want you to be is a safe
those
space.
Sons of bitches. I hate them too, and let's burn down their houses.
Parent support group, no. But no, what we're looking for often, I think, with people is a safe space and not for something to be solved. So you might say, "Well, stop going to the meetings." Yeah, and you're like, "Well, that's not."
It's not that encouragement or even help or mentoring might not happen. It might happen.
It might happen
at the end of that. But the safe space is giving someone the freedom and the place to air that stuff out, to ask that question, to poise something, to think, here's what I've been thinking about. Here's what I've been wondering about. This is what I, this, that, and there. And is there a God? Is there not a God? What about changing parties, or what about this person or that person? So you need to have the freedom and the grace to have that conversation without somebody stepping in and say, "Well, I'll tell you why there's a God."
Exactly.
Right.
Well, and it's funny because it makes us sound like we're wonderful. We're like, "Oh yes, I was in a safe space this week." Yeah. But I actually, now that we're talking about this, I had a situation where I was unfortunately in a hurry, and I was like transitioning to the next thing that I needed to do. And a person that I love kind of tossed out something like, how people go fishing for a safe space. Like, am I safe to say this? And I think the person knows they're safe with me. And sadly, I didn't give the time maybe that I needed to. Yeah. But they were, mentioned the phrase crisis of faith. It was kind of, And instead of, whereas on my better days, I might have said, I could see how that would cause a crisis of faith and what's going on. I kind of was like, I know, crisis of faith. Whew, that's tough. And then I went on to fortunately, this is someone.
I gotta get to the movie.
I was late for something else, but fortunately, it's someone that I see often, and so I can correct that.
Yes.
And I also think what's interesting about being safe space for people is that when we're a safe space to someone and we allow them to share their heart and their most, deepest thoughts, I think they can become a safe place for us as well.
Yes.
They want to do that because when someone trusts you,
right.
like, here, I'm going to bring you what's most important to me, my fears or whatever, and I'm going to let you look at them. And then you say, wow, I'm honored that they did that. I could probably let them know that I'm also having a crisis of faith.
Right.
That kind of thing. So it's reciprocal.
Yes. Well, I'm thinking about, I've got this band of friends that are all guys, and there's like 4 or 5 of us, and
your little text buddies.
Each of them probably views politics in a very different way than I personally.
Yes, I know all of them, and they are they are wonderful. But
it's not a hypothesis.
You are the oddball in that group.
And but I have found that within that grouping or within those conversations, that there are things that I can say to encourage them or to help them, even in their belief system, even though that's different than my belief system. And so I don't have to agree with someone or be part of their religion or be part of their family group or be part of their fantasy football league or whatever it is. I don't have to be a part of that to encourage them in it. I don't have to. Yeah. We don't all have to be the same for me to be a safe place for someone. Yeah. And I think that's really critical. You and I, not everybody can do this. Not, all marriages are different, and they should be. And but for a lot of years we were we had each other, and that was really about it. Yeah. That's really all we had in that moment. So you and I have chosen to be a safe place for each other. And so there are a lot of conversations that you and I can have where we can be safe and saying, this is how I feel, this is what I'm experiencing, this is difficult for me. Yeah. And without freaking out and saying, how could you feel that way? And what if that's absolutely, wrong. You just recognize that people are human. Yeah. And even the phases and places we get to in life where we, fall in and out of attraction with each other, we fall in and out of irritation with each other, or whatever. You and I recognize that in life to enough that we can say, okay, I get that. That's a naturally occurring thing. Now, we also love each other and encourage each other, but not all groups can do that. Not all couples can do that. Yeah,
and I think the hugest factor in that is the term that gets thrown around a lot about trust. That's true. And if you want to not be a safe place for people, then you can let that information come out to someone else. If
you don't want to be a safe place, don't bank on trust.
Exactly.
That's a
I think the main component in being safe places for one another is the idea of trying to not allow any sort of judgment or criticism to enter that space. Right. Even if you might be struggling in the back of your mind with what that person is confiding in, is saying to you that is important to them. Guarding your mouth.
I think we have a fear that somehow if we don't step up and act as the sheriff or operate as the judge, that somehow they're not going to know the pitfalls of these choices. Right. Like somehow it's on us to, to judge everybody's lives, or somehow it's on us to
step up and stand up for it.
There are plenty of people to do that. Oh, yeah. I mean, you just put your stuff out on the social medias, you'll get it. So I don't know if we need more people to be critical or to be judgmental or to do that. We do need a safe place to air some stuff out. Sure. And, I've thought about, we've had this conversation before about just outward communication, that there are, and the value of community, because there are things that go off in my brain ideas or thoughts, and I think, oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Or, oh, I'm a sack of shit, or whatever it is. And it just stays, and it just runs like a Roomba around your brain again and again and again. And it kind of builds up a little steam when it's in there. It builds up and it gets a little larger. Yeah. But then there's something about speaking that out to someone that even in saying it, I don't need you to dispel it. Mm-hmm. When I say it out loud, somehow it gets dispelled on its own. Just the airing of it, like, oh, that idea was brilliant in my brain, but now that I'm saying it out loud, that's stupid. That's never going to work.
It's like, I think when you are free to speak something out, it brings it into the light. Yeah. And we've kind of got this dome. I love the Roomba of your mind, which circles from I'm a sack of shit to I'm brilliant on the day and does some little spin moves in there. I had that going. I was working on music earlier. When those times you're like, oh, this is pretty good. And you're like, why am I even doing this? Yeah. Exactly. Why did I do this? Yeah. But if I have a safe space, I can say that to you. Yes. And you'll remind me of who I am. Right. And you'll say, well, you're awesome. Or, well, if you feel bad about it, you could work a little harder on this or that, if I'm asking, if that, right? But it's so important for us to have those spaces. And I've had times in my life where, like when you were my problem, no, I'm kidding, or we might have been struggling. You're my usual safe space, right? Mm-hmm. Where I knew that I needed to confide in someone else who'd been through that, whether that's a parent or maybe an older friend that's been through a long relationship or those type of things. Sometimes you have to seek. Actually, I think most of the time you have to seek those safe spaces out because you know that your heart needs to be heard. Yes. But it's probably going to require some action from you to be willing to be a little bit vulnerable and to take a chance with that person. Yeah. Sometimes it takes some work. Yeah. And it feels like if you want to be considered a safe place, we have this really goofy phrase that we use with Evangeline right Which
now.
Which one?
Which is the trust bank. So
that's yours. That's like a dad joke.
It is a dad thing, but it's like, it's, if we're leaving her someplace or she's going to school and she's going to
borrow my phone for
she's going to make a number of decisions and we can't be there to make that decision for her. Right. And so I'll say, okay, look, this is the place where you're either adding to trust or you're taking out of the trust. You're either you're putting stuff in the trust bank or you're withdrawing trust from the trust bank. Yeah. And this is that moment. So just weigh those decisions before you make them. Yeah. Is this going to add to or take away from trust? Yes. And because it's big, especially as she's getting older and as that leash for parent to kid is getting longer, we have to know where are we in this trust cycle. Right. And so the same thing I think happens in this idea of being a safe place. We are, with people in our lives, building trust or showing that we're not trustworthy, not worthy of the trust that you would put in me. So I needed to let you know that you should not trust me with this because I will likely tell this to someone else or I will likely judge you for it or I will likely respond the wrong way, or we can begin to build that trust with someone. And then I think the other part of it is, which you kind of alluded to, which is it's almost like trying to determine what is the expectation of the person who's coming to me. Okay. Do they just want a listening ear? Do they just need to vent? Do they need a valve release from whatever's going on inside of them? Yeah. Or are they maybe looking for some advice? Mm-hmm. And so knowing what they need, knowing what they're asking for, knowing what they're open for, that all that stuff takes listening, all that stuff, and sometimes takes direct questions. And there's nothing wrong with saying, asking someone, so what would you like to would you like just me to just listen to this, or are you hoping that I'll
would you
have
like
some
to know
ideas?
What I think, or just tell me. And sometimes it's funny because you want it to be spontaneous, but as humans, like we would just always know. Yeah. But depending on the person, you may have to be brave enough to say, "Well, that's really interesting. I'm sorry you're going through that. Do you like to know what I think about that? Or did you just want to listen? That's one way to do that. And I'm not great at that too. I'll try to go on intuition a lot, but sometimes there are certain people that I probably should ask and say that, you know? And I think that almost always advice is solicited.
Yes.
Meaning you certainly don't want to be somebody that gives unsolicited advice. Right. I think you do get a sense, or you can ask if someone is looking for, you know, your particular brand of wisdom after they share their heart. Have you ever had, I was thinking about safe spaces. I have had in my longish life some relationships that were a safe space that became not safe.
Yes.
And I think a lot of times that happens as we evolve, hopefully, if we evolve in some of the things that we think or believe. As we become more educated, we have lifelong experiences, we get to travel, we meet people in different circumstances. Hopefully, our mind and heart is open to evolving.
Right.
And it doesn't necessarily mean ditching all your core values. It means being open to other perspectives. Well, when you have certain friends or people in your family that were a safe space at one point when what you thought was more similar, and then you begin to evolve, that can really be difficult. And I've had some relationships that sadly, I felt that wall go down.
Yes.
So you were safe. Now I'm not so sure. Now I feel like I'm gonna, and usually that's because the other person is fearful of your new perspective and they knew you this way. But if we truly love somebody, just like a kid or a sibling, wouldn't you want to give them some room to still be safe, even if they were experimenting with a different way of thinking or a different way of believing, or whatever that might be?
Yeah, as you and I have talked about, I think that, you know, maybe the biggest value in that is always keeping the communication open. So there are plenty of responses that I can give that will stop communication, that will hang up the phone. But our goal is always to keep the phone line open as much as possible, whenever it's possible.
It is.
So I agree with that. I mean, there are seasons to friendships, and it never makes the friendship mean less to me that it's not the same as it was 10 years ago, 15 or 20 years ago. There are friends that I had 20 years ago, which helped shape my life and that I love dearly, but we're not in the same spot anymore. And they went on to do different stuff, and they see things differently than I do, and all that stuff. So I don't count that as a loss as much as for that season. That was fantastic. My fourth grade teacher was an amazing teacher in fourth grade, but I'm in seventh grade now. And so I don't dishonor her for being not my teacher now. You know, that was really important in fourth grade, but now I'm in seventh grade and things have changed. And so.
Yes. And I hear what you're saying. And I think that.
Thank you.
I'm just trying to reaffirm you.
I appreciate that.
Your point of view has been duly noted and affirmed. So good job. I've also had a relationship where it was a safe space. It became less safe. And as time has gone on, that person has valued me over the disagreements that we might have had in ways of thinking and come back to a safe space. That's super cool. That means that just as trust can be rebuilt, that feeling of safety, and I'm sure that some people would say that about me. There were times where they did feel safe. Maybe I went this way and we're back. But if you love someone above what they're going through, and they're the highest value to you, you can remain in that safety.
What you just said, I think, is so important. So that's it. The people in our lives, they are the value. They are the most important thing.
Not their behavior.
Not their decisions, not that, all that stuff. And so that's what allows us to be a safe place for people that we don't necessarily agree with, but we still love dearly, and we still recognize their need. And so we give that to them and to the best. That doesn't mean being hypocritical. It doesn't mean encouraging bad or destructive behavior or even destructive thinking. It just means that giving people that space as much as possible. So I think that's key. And then I think this other thing about, if you want to be considered a safe place, one of the things that's critical is that when you have those conversations, that there's no sense of talking down to someone.
Yeah, condescension.
Yes. And so the idea that you can, even when someone's maybe significantly younger than you or significantly less experienced in work or
less cool.
Yeah, well, that's an obvious, but yeah. But this idea of putting everybody on the same human level, putting everybody in the same human place, and this thing about recognizing someone's humanity, this thing about recognizing this person's value, that's core to the whole thing. Yeah. So when we act like we are greater than or better than, and here's what you need to do, that really lets the air out of that safe place in a pretty quick play.
Oh man, it's so true. When people have those solutions, well, if this is what I did or whatever. I think that safe places have to be earned. And like we talked about, sometimes you maybe have to go out and find your own. Perhaps it's that, what's the old adage, to make friends, you must first be friendly.
Yes.
And it's so true. Yeah. That's what you have to do. And maybe if you're seeking more safe spaces in your life, maybe you need to be more open. Yes. Maybe I need to be more open. And in a way, if I'm willing to listen and be a safe space for someone else, in turn, they may become that for me.
Right.
Sort of the law of the harvest, as they say, or karma.
Yeah.
Or all those
things. You said a couple of weeks ago that maybe the greatest gift that we can give someone is authenticity. Maybe the greatest gift that we can give someone is kind of revealing our true self and not always having to put our best haircut forward.
Yes. I will sometimes do that with people. I think it's, well, no, I was going to say, I think it's especially difficult for women, but no, it's just difficult for everyone.
Yeah.
We have a culture that we live in North America, and especially maybe, whatever socioeconomic group we're in, where you're always feeling like you have to keep your best foot forward and put on this front.
That's how we kind of associate our own value. So
we do PR.
How do I stack up against everybody else?
Yeah.
If I stack up above average,
then maybe I'm
okay.
Yeah. But if someone says to me, and this happened just the other day, I saw kind of a friend. We're more of an acquaintances, but I've sensed there's a real neat person there.
Yes.
And so she was like, "Oh, how are you doing?" And normally we're like, "Oh, I'm in cool, good. Things are fine, a little busy, blah blah blah." And it was just she and I said, not the best.
Yeah, right.
And so she immediately goes, "Dude, I know." And then immediately, although we had never really been a safe space for one another, we were.
Yes.
And our conversation that we had, because we both needed that spot, was a little bit deeper than it had been before.
Yeah.
And the next time we get together, we'll build on that. Yes. I know we will, because I felt that special connection that comes from being real with somebody. Yeah. Sometimes, though, you have to help somebody out by not being like, "Oh, yeah, cool, everything's cool," right? You can say, things kind of suck. Golly. And if they're open, they'll say, "Oh, me too." Or if they're not, they'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm great."
It's hard to be around someone and be with someone, and certainly to be intimate in a friendship or otherwise with somebody who's perfect, or who seems perfect. Yeah. So if they
break it down.
Yeah,
I'm not perfect.
If they make all the money and they're good looking and they've got a great marriage and their kids are perfect, well, golly,
I know
that's a lot. That's a lot to be around. I don't feel comfortable brushing up against that. But if they're very
self-deprecating humor,
but if they're very human in the process. That makes everyone around you feel comfortable. Yeah. And that's hard. So it's hard for us to do that.
It is. It makes me wonder in my life, and maybe this is something you're thinking about, who can I become a safe space for? I'm going to, after this conversation, take a little inventory of my spheres of influence. No, I'm just kidding. Of the people that are in my life.
Yeah.
And say, in this particular organization that I help with, or in my family, or in my group of friends that are at the gym, maybe we'd be on the lookout to be someone's safe space. Wouldn't that be cool? Like, who can I do this for?
It's so funny. We were just having this conversation the other day. One of the hallmark conversations for dreamers is this conversation about see it and say it. So to see the good in someone and then tell them, make sure they know about that good. And part of that, as we were just talking about, was that when you tell someone what it is they're good at. Hey, you're so hospitable. You're such a great friend. Hey, you're a great drawer. You're really great at math, or you make people feel comfortable or whatever. You're funny. The reality is once they know that, they go on to do more of it. So they end up growing the good.
Yeah.
So what's interesting about that in this context is that's kind of what's happened for us. So someone acknowledged the value we have in their life as being a safe place, and all that has maybe wanted to do since that moment is be that for more people.
Yes.
To be more authentic, to be safe, that someone would know they're safe with me, to be more loving, to even in my friendships to be more intimate, to not keep everything at
arm's
this
length.
distance. Yeah, like you're saying. So I find myself wanting to love people more.
Yeah.
I find myself wanting to encourage people more. I find myself wanting to convey that goodness to people. And in that case, you know, at the end of the city council meeting, I knew that was the step I was supposed to take. I knew that was the action I could take. Now, there are plenty of people in the room, and God knows that community is used to hearing that bile, but I knew that was an action that I wanted to take as a recovering undercommunicator to say to someone, I'm sorry you had to sit through that again. I'm sorry that someone had to question your value as a human one more time, and you had to sit there and take it in the room.
Yeah.
And I just want you to know that we love you and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to be that safe place, it probably does take a certain level of communication.
Yeah,
it takes a certain level of being outgoing and letting people know that you care for them, and that you are safe. And
that can be done in writing too.
Yeah.
That can be done via email or text.
Yes.
I have some friends that I don't get to see often, but we encourage each other via text.
Yes.
I'll just get a sense that they're down, or I will have known something that's happened in their life, and just that communication that can communicate safety. And perhaps being a safe place for people is like a boomerang.
Yeah.
Perhaps if you throw it out and we do that, it will come back to us.
You know, I think about all the places, especially like in medieval times, where people would put like a sign on their door or something like that, and it was code that says, this is the resistance is here, and the resistance is safe, or this is where you can find this product, or this is where you can find this thing.
Okay.
And it kind of became a code for people. You know, it let people know this was the place for it. Yeah.
This mark on that room. Mm-hmm.
Telling people, loving people, even communicating that love specifically is like having that code. Yeah. It's saying to people, I see you and I love you, and this is a safe place. So it's not so much a visual, a symbol, but it acts that way. Mm-hmm. The more that we communicate love to people in a verbal, actual way, the more we communicate it with our actions, the more we take care of people, the less harsh and mean-spirited and ugly and cantankerous we are, then the more people know, that's the symbol right there.
That's
that says,
right.
This is a safe place.
Here.
Yeah. Well, you are certainly safe here, Dreamers, and we're so grateful that you chose to be a part of this episode once again. Remember, you can be a safe place for someone, and that is quite possibly the greatest thing that we can be for each other. And letting people know that they are physically and emotionally safe with you. And that will breed life, and it'll breed growth, and as we say, it will grow the good. And so get on with doing it. And like Anjanette said, maybe there's a list of people you want to reach out to let them know that they're in a safe place with you. So it's well worth doing. Good. We will be back with another episode soon, and hope that you can join us at a live Dreamers event.
Yes.
We're back into our fall schedule. We'll be giving you more dates on that kind of stuff. But as much as we enjoy the podcast, we'd love to see your face.
Yeah, we would. And we can also bring what we call the Dreamers experience, which is the idea of just having conversations like this that are lighthearted but meaningful to your group, your church, your organization. We actually do some speaking to different businesses, nonprofit organizations, just to help people get a little better about talking about some of these things. It could help, and we would love to come and do that for you. So let us know.
So email us, subscribe, share, like, fax, tweet, delete, I don't know, whatever it is.
Yes, do fax us.
Send us something on the pager. Just let us know, and we would love to hear from you. But between now and then, we do love you. You are in a safe place with us, and we enjoy these conversations with you, and we will see you again soon.
See you soon.
Peace out.